Hello, thank you for joining us to learn more about clinical trials. The following modules were developed by pediatric nurse practitioners for pediatric nurse practitioners with the support of the National Association of Pediatric Nurse Practitioners and Lilly, a pharmaceutical company advancing science to solve significant health challenges. My name is Dr. Susan Brasher, and I'm a certified pediatric nurse practitioner and tenure-track assistant professor at Emory University Nell Hodgson Woodruff School of Nursing. Clinical trials examine the effects, safety, efficacy, and/or side effects of interventions. Information obtained in clinical trials helps determine if an intervention, such as a medication, therapy, or a medical device, is safe and effective. The overarching goal of a clinical trial is to gather data that will determine whether an intervention is safe and effective for use in the broader population. Specifically, clinical trials are designed to learn the following. Examine whether a new treatment is more effective than existing treatments. Determine the optimal dosage of a medication or treatment. Identify if a new treatment has fewer side effects than existing treatments. Determine new ways to diagnose or screen for certain diseases or conditions. Identify new approaches to preventing health problems such as diabetes and cancer. Evaluate the role of caregivers or support groups on improving patient outcomes, such as reducing stigma and improving quality of life. Identify potential risks or adverse effects of a medication or treatment. Demonstrate safety of using a medication or treatment in select populations. And finally, clinical trials can create a better understanding of select conditions that enhance scientific knowledge and awareness. Clinical trials are conducted in phases, commonly referred to as a phase 1 through phase 4, allowing researchers to determine if a medication, device, or intervention is safe and effective. Each phase of a clinical trial has a different purpose. Phase 1 evaluates an experimental medication, device, or treatment on a small group of people, such as 20 to 80 people, to judge the safety, including the dosage or amount, as well as any side effects that may occur. Phase 2 enrolls additional people, such as 100 to 300 people, to determine the effectiveness in a larger sample. This phase provides preliminary data on the effects of medication, device, or treatment on select conditions and continues to monitor for safety. Phase 3 further enrolls additional people, upwards of thousands of people, to demonstrate effectiveness and safety in different populations and at different dosages, often comparing interventions, devices, and medications. And phase 4 occurs after FDA approval of a medication or device to test the effectiveness in large, diverse populations. Phase 4 also provides additional monitoring for long-term side effects. Clinical trials are conducted in numerous settings depending on the phase that's being conducted, as well as the study's aims and population. The following are examples of common settings for clinical trials. There are inpatient and hospital settings in which some clinical trials require standardized inpatient medical care, as well as close monitoring and access to advanced diagnostics. There are also outpatient clinic settings. This type of setting is commonly used in clinical trials that do not require hospitalization. Examples of trials conducted in outpatient settings include the following. Prevention trials, which are used to examine ways to prevent certain diseases or conditions. Examples include exploring the role of medications, vaccines, or lifestyle changes in preventing a disease or condition. There are screening and diagnostic trials to identify new or different ways to detect diseases or conditions. Treatment trials are used to test or compare new or combined approaches, such as combination drug therapies. Behavioral trials to evaluate or promote behavioral changes and the impact they have on outcomes. And quality of life trials or supportive care trials, which explores and measures ways to enhance quality of life or support for people living with specific conditions or illnesses. There are also home-based trials, which have been able to be used effectively and are increasing in popularity, where a participant can be monitored at home. And virtual trials are also increasing in popularity due to the accessibility and ability to manage participants remotely through telehealth, mobile apps, and video conferencing. Each of the above settings has unique pros and cons to conducting clinical trials within these settings, and therefore, the clinicians must weigh these options with those factors in mind. Our next segment will further discuss the benefits and barriers to clinical trials. Thank you for joining us today.